Hey, this is Miss Hicks. We're here ready to read chapter 21 of Things Not Seen by Andrew Clements. Chapter 21, Findings. Newsflash. Invisible people make excellent spies and thieves. Finding exactly what I want at the legal department is ridiculously easy. Access to the security doors, a snap. I wait for a slow-moving person of considerable size and slide through the doorway right behind his behind. Finding the right information, a cinch. I've got a name to work with. Amber Carson is the woman who stonewalled Alicia on the phone about 2.5 hours ago. I find her office on the 4th floor, which is the only hard part. And then I wait patiently in an empty cubicle until she goes to lunch at 12:25. Mrs. Carson apparently trusts all her coworkers because she doesn't log off of her computer, which is good because it saves me the trouble of finding Alicia and telling her that this is going to take a lot longer, which it would have because I'd have had to wait until Amber Carson got back from lunch. Then I'd have to look over her shoulder and learn her password and wait for her to leave her office again so I could use her computer. I don't know if I could ever be a good lawyer. Lawyers are organized. The folks at Sears keep their files in such good order that I bet I could start from nothing and find whatever I needed in 15 minutes or less. But I don't even have to do an actual search. That's because I've got inside information. I happen to know that Amber Carson accessed the very file I'm looking for earlier today when Alicia called her. So all I have to do is use the recent documents utility on her computer. Point, click, there it is, which is kind of a shame. I went to a lot of trouble to memorize the model number of the blanket, all 10 characters, and now I don't even need to use it. The database notes show the entire history of my doomed electric blanket. Turns out 9,308 blankets were sold before it was discovered that some percentage of the controller units had been manufactured with faulty resistors. As of today, 379 consumers have complained, and of those, 163 have accepted a new blanket. When the problem was first noticed, the legal counsel had advised that there should be no product recall, but rather customer service should go with a replace as requested plan. Only one customer had complained that he believed the blanket made his heart pacemaker malfunction, but there was no injury and no lawsuit. Still, to be on the safe side, the legal staff set the policy that any complaining customer with a pacemaker should be advised to discontinue use of the blanket and return it immediately for refund, credit, or exchange. I'm glad I know enough about computers because all I really want from the file is the list of 379 people who complained about the blanket. And with a couple simple sort functions, I've got their names and addresses and phone numbers isolated in a list. Printing out the list would make a big stack of papers, unless you know how to format, which I do. And it turns out that Amber Carson is an important enough person in the Sears legal department to have her own little laser printer on a work table by a window that looks out over the rolling lawn. So I put the whole list into 7-point type, single space it, format it into 6 columns, and print it out. I end up with just 3 pages. Very small type, but readable. I fold the stack of pages inward from top to bottom 3 times, and then fold the result in half lengthwise twice more. What I end up with is a wad of paper about 1 inch wide and 2 inches long, the perfect size to stick up into my left armpit. Gross and uncomfortable, but effective. As long as I keep my left arm clamped up against my side, the paper is completely hidden. By 12:47, I'm on my way to hunt for Alicia. I could just go to the main entrance and wait for her because that was her plan. But what's the fun of that? I'd rather track her down. I glide through 3 different doors, then down 1 stairwell, along 1 corridor, through 1 last door, and then I'm outside. It's a lot more spring-like in Hoffman Estates than it was in Hyde Park. People are all over the place, eating lunch, resting, talking with friends. They look like creatures who have crawled out of burrows to soak up some sunlight, except for the smokers. There's a little group of them outside almost every doorway standing around, looking sort of defensive. They're not outside for the fresh air. I hold my breath when I go past so I don't have to smell the stuff. The map at the reception area said the personnel offices are in a building that's close to the main entrance. Again, I wait for someone to help me through the security doors. Once inside, I'm lost. I'm on the ground floor, and it's an area about the size of 3 football fields. There are partitions and corridors, nice offices around the perimeter, paintings and posters everywhere. Bright and cheery, but it's still like a maze. This is an employees-only area, so there are no signs, no helpful maps or diagrams, except for the occasional emergency evacuation poster. So I just wander. My shoulder is aching, and my arm is starting to go to sleep from the pressure of the clump of paper in my armpit. I'm almost ready to give up and head for our rendezvous spot. Then I hear Alicia's laugh, complete with that little snort at the end. I follow the sound to a glass-walled conference room where she's sitting with a bottle of Snapple and a thick blue folder on the table in front of her. Alicia's smiling and nodding, moving her head to follow the voices of the people at the table. She looks like she could have just graduated from college with honors and 3 proposals of marriage. Apparently, the guy who picked her up from reception is the big joker, because as I approach, he says something I can't quite hear, and Alicia and the other 2 people in the room start cackling again. Also at the table is a man who looks as old as my dad, but with a wrinkly face, with a gray mustache, and not much hair up top. He's wearing incredibly thick glasses. The 4th person is a woman who's maybe 30, maybe younger. She's got short blonde hair and big earrings, and she's wearing soft gray pants and jacket outfit with a pink shirt. A nice enough face, a good smile, but squinting. Then I see this lady's like Alicia. She's got a white cane on the floor by her chair. The meeting's just breaking up, and I'm outside looking in. I get too close to the glass, and my breath fogs it up, so I move back a little. I watch Alicia. She shakes hands, first with the older man and then the woman, and smiles and hand clasps are so strong, so real and warm, and it's like this wave sweeps over me, and my eyes get blurry and I swallow hard. Alicia takes the arm of the younger man, and I turn and walk away fast. I don't want her to know I saw any of this. I don't want her to feel like I've been spying on her. I know she came on this trip to help me out, but this meeting she just had, these people she's met and talked to and laughed with, this is something she's done on her own. It's part of her life, not mine. It's got nothing to do with me. I'm in the reception area when Alicia and her guide appear, and I keep well away. Another warm handshake, then he's gone, and the lady at the desk says, Alicia, I noticed you arrived by cab earlier. Would you like me to call you one for you? Alicia hesitates, so I hurry over and gently tap her cane. She's startled but doesn't show it. And she says to the lady, yes, that'd be great. And be sure the driver knows this is for a ride to Hyde Park in Chicago. Some drivers don't want to go that far. And thank you. Certainly. We get good service from the local cab company. They'll take you wherever you need to go. There's a bench to the left outside the front entrance if you'd like to wait outdoors. Otherwise, I can show you to a seat inside the doorway. Alicia smiles again. Thanks, and heads for the doorway. Thinking I'll be helpful, I take hold of her cane out in front of her hand. She stops and shakes her head sharply. I pull my hand away and then follow her outside. I wait until she's found the bench and sits down. No one's near, so I say, I got in, and I printed out a long list of names. Can I put it in your backpack? Alicia nods, swings the pack off her back, and unzips the main compartment, holding it open. There in the bag, I can see the thick blue folder that she had in the conference room. I glance around, take the list from under my arm, and drop it in. Alicia feels it hit the backpack, so she pulls the zipper closed, swings the bag behind her, and loops the straps back over her shoulders. She whispers, so you got something? And I whisper back, yeah. The cab that arrives has no divider between the front and back seat, so I can't talk to Alicia. There's nothing to do but settle back in that seat and look out the window. The outer highways aren't too crowded, but when we get closer to O'Hare, everything bogs down. The cab is crawling through afternoon traffic. I'm 3 feet away from 2 other people, and I can't talk to either of them. I've never felt this alone, and the worst part is that Alicia seems perfectly content not to talk. She seems glad that she doesn't even have to try. The driver looks up into his mirror and says, my sister? She works at Sears out in Rockford. Good company, you know. Good benefits. Alicia nods and smiles. Then she turns her face toward the window. The cabbie makes a few other attempts to get a conversation going, but Alicia just nods or murmurs a little, so the guy gives up and punches up a country station on the radio. It's a slow ride home. It's almost 3 and right on schedule. The cab arrives at my house, and I've got the list of names stuffed back under my arm. The driver puts the car into park and says, "That'll be $58, miss." Alicia pushes her door open, and I scramble out. Then I lean back inside, and I whisper, "Call you later, and thanks." Alicia nods slightly to me, then faces the cabbie and says, "I'm sorry, I just remembered an errand I have to run. Could you drop me at the big library on 56th Street between University and Ellis? Because that was our plan." The driver shrugs and puts the car back into gear. "It's your money." Alicia closes her door, and the cab pulls away. I watch her go. There's a gust of wind from the east, and I shiver. I turn to go inside, and I feel like something has ended, or maybe begun, or maybe both. Wonder what he's talking about, something ended or begun or both. What do you think he's hinting at there? It's called foreshadowing, when he gives you a hint of what's to come in the future chapters.